All right, let's dive in. Today we are talking about the modern art of make-believe. How in the world do we build meaning in an age that's basically trained us to be skeptical of everything? If you're into deep dives that unpack big ideas like this one, do me a favor and hit subscribe and that like button. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want to see more. Okay, let's get into it.
So let's kick things off with this quote, because it just perfectly nails the dilemma we're all in. The author of the book we're looking at heard his daughter say this about, of all things, Santa Claus. And wow, isn't that just the tightrope we all walk today? We feel like we're too smart, too rational for fairy tales, but at the same time, we're just too human not to need them.
And that exact tension is what Zachary Simpson's book is all about. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to nail down the core problem, what he calls the modern belief paradox. Then we'll unpack the three ancient tools we all use, often without even realizing it, to create meaning: story, community, and ritual. Then we'll see how using these tools actually creates a second, even trickier paradox. And finally, we'll talk about what it all means, the kind of courage it takes to live in that tension.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What is this core problem? Simpson calls it the first great paradox of modernity, and it is a fundamental conflict that is literally baked into the way we think. Think of it like a constant tug-of-war happening inside our heads. On one side, we are absolutely hardwired to need meaning, to need purpose, to have values that guide us. But on the other side, everything about our modern, scientific world has trained us to be critics, to be skeptical of any big claim that you can't prove in a lab. So we desperately need a foundation to stand on, but we've also been handed a hammer and told to smash any foundation that looks even a little bit shaky. The brilliant philosopher Immanuel Kant actually had a term for this. He called it a focus imaginarius. It's basically an idea that we can't prove is real, but we act as if it's real, because it organizes our lives. A perfect example is justice, right? You can't put justice in a test tube, you can't measure its weight, but we build our entire legal systems as if it's a real thing we can achieve. It's like a North Star. It guides us even if we know we can never physically touch it. So, if we can't just inherit our beliefs from some ancient text or institution anymore, how do we make them for ourselves? Well, the book argues that we unconsciously reach for this ancient, powerful toolkit. And the first tool is maybe the most powerful technology humans have ever invented: story.
Friedrich Nietzsche got this completely. He talked about something he called a noble lie. It's this idea of consciously adopting a fiction, putting on a mask to give your life a sense of meaning and importance. The point isn't to deceive anyone. The point is that we know it's a creation, a story we're choosing to live inside, but it elevates our existence. The mask isn't hiding who you are, it's helping you become something more.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that sounds poetic, but is it real? Well, it turns out modern psychology has basically proven Nietzsche right. This isn't just philosophy. Look at the data. Study after study shows that if you want to get people to actually do something, whether it's donating to charity or signing up to be an organ donor, a compelling story beats a page full of statistics every single time. Stories literally change how we behave. So what's the secret sauce in these stories? It's a little bit of weirdness. Researchers call them minimally counterintuitive elements, or MCI. These are things that are just strange enough to catch our attention, but not so crazy that our rational brain just throws them out. Think about a talking snake in a garden, or a ghost that can walk through walls but still feels love. It's that slight break from reality that makes an idea sticky and almost impossible to forget.
Okay, so story is huge. But it's not enough to just tell ourselves stories in a vacuum, and that's where the second tool comes in. It's not just about the tales we tell, it's about who we tell them with. Because let's be real, belief is a team sport.
A private belief becomes powerful when it becomes a shared reality. And there's this kind of ladder that we climb to get there. It all starts with something simple, a shared goal, what scientists call collective intentionality. From there, we develop shared norms, which are basically the rules of the game for the group. Over time, some of those rules become so important they turn into sacred values, the things that are totally non-negotiable. And the final, most intense step is identity fusion, where the line between me and us basically disappears. Now, what's the rocket fuel that speeds this whole process up? You might be surprised. It's pain. Just look at this chart from a 2014 study. The control group, they cooperate at a certain level. But the group that went through a painful experience together, their cooperation goes through the roof. Going through hard times together forges this incredible bond, this social glue that you just can't get when things are easy. It turns a collection of I's into a powerful we.
And the most extreme version of this is that idea of identity fusion. This is where the self and the group become so intertwined that people are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. And this isn't theoretical. Studies on groups as different as Spanish patriots and Brazilian soccer superfans find the exact same thing. The more fused you are with your group, the more willing you are to fight and even die for it.
So we have story and we have community. The third tool is maybe the most surprising because it's not about what we think or who we're with, it's about what we physically do. It's about how our actions can literally build our beliefs from the outside in.
This is where the philosopher Blaise Pascal just flips the script on us. Our modern logic goes like this. First, you have to be intellectually convinced of something. You have to believe it. Then you'll act on that belief. But Pascal said, nope, you've got it completely backwards. He argued that if you want to believe, you should start with the behavior. Act as if you already believe. Kneel, take the holy water, say the words, do the ritual. Your body, he said, will teach your mind, and belief will follow.
And you know what? This ancient idea is confirmed all over the place in modern psychology. Think about power posing. Just standing in a confident way for a couple of minutes actually changes your hormones and makes you feel more powerful. Or something like laughter yoga, where just the physical act of laughing, even when it's forced, is shown to improve your mood. Our bodies are constantly shaping our minds.
Okay, so we have the toolkit, story, community, and ritual. We have the means to create meaning. But here's the big twist in the story. Using this ancient toolkit creates a new, and maybe even deeper, paradox for us modern folks.
And the paradox is this: the very things we need to build a meaningful life are in direct conflict with the ideals we claim to value most. Our modern ideal, our hero, is the rational, self-creating individual who thinks for themselves. But the actual engine of belief, as we've just seen, is all about the collective. It's about shared stories, group identity, and often non-rational, synchronized behavior. It seems that to get the meaning we crave, we might have to give up some of the individuality we cherish.
The philosopher Peter Sloterdijk has this absolutely incredible image for this. He points out that for most of human history, your sense of self was reflected back to you by the faces of the people in your village. You knew who you were because they showed you. The invention of the mirror, he argues, changed everything. It created the modern individual, an isolated person who now only looks at themselves to figure out who they are.
So what do we do? How do we navigate this? The book suggests that there isn't some neat, tidy solution. The answer isn't a how-to guide. Instead, it's about cultivating a certain kind of virtue, a specific type of courage that is tailor-made for our uncertain world.
And the theologian Paul Tillich gives us what I think is one of the most powerful definitions of courage you'll ever hear. For him, courage is not the absence of fear or the absence of doubt. It's the exact opposite. It's the power to affirm life, to say yes to a path, to commit to something in spite of knowing that it's all ambiguous, that you might be wrong, that your beautiful story might just be a story. It's affirming life in the face of all that doubt.
Which really leaves us with a central challenge of modern life, doesn't it? In a world where meaning isn't handed down to us anymore, how do we create our own? But more importantly, how do we create it together? How do we build something shared without falling back on old dogmas, but also without ending up in the cold, lonely place of total skepticism? Thank you so much for exploring the paradoxes of modernity with me. If this is the kind of stuff that gets your brain buzzing, please make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives into these big ideas. I will see you in the next one.